If this book found you, then pause for a moment and look at your life not with fear, not with regret, but with honesty. There is a reason you stopped and paid attention to these words, even if that reason is not clear yet. People spend years moving through routines, waking up doing what is expected and sleeping again without ever questioning if this is the life they truly want. Days turn into months, months turn into years, and suddenly they feel lost without knowing when it started. But something inside you is different. You felt a pull, a quiet voice asking, is this all, or can there be more? That question is not random. It is the beginning of awareness. Title says you are the universe's chosen one, but not in the way stories describe. Not in a way where everything becomes easy or success appears without effort. Being chosen here means you have reached a point where you can no longer ignore your own potential. It means you have started to see that your life is shaped by your actions, your habits, and your decisions. It means you are ready to take responsibility instead of waiting for change. This book is not here to give you fantasy. It will not promise instant success or a perfect life. Instead, it will show you reality in a way that is simple, clear, and practical. You will understand why most people stay stuck. You will see how small actions build powerful results. You will learn how your thinking shapes your direction. And most importantly, you will realize that nothing changes until you do. Imagine a person standing at a crossroad. One path is familiar, easy, and comfortable, but leads to the same place again and again. The other path is uncertain, challenging, and requires effort, but leads to growth and new opportunities. People stay on the first path because it feels safe. Very few choose the second path because it demands change. This book found you then. You are standing at that crossroad, and this is your moment to decide. Throughout these chapters you will see examples of ordinary people who changed their lives not because they were lucky, but because they acted differently. They questioned their habits, they improved their mindset, and they stayed consistent even when it was difficult. You will also face truths that may feel uncomfortable. You may realize that some of your struggles come from your own choices, but this is not meant to discourage you. It is meant to empower you. Because if your choices created your current situation, then new choices can create a better one. Think of this book as a guide, not a magic solution. It will not walk the path for you, but it will show you where to step. Every page is a reminder that you are capable of more than you currently express, not because the universe selected you above others, but because you are willing to see and act. By the time you reach the end, you will not need the idea of being chosen. You will understand that your power comes from your discipline, your awareness, and your willingness to grow. So read slowly, reflect deeply, and most importantly, apply what you learn. Because knowledge without action is nothing. And remember this clearly. This book did not change your life. Your decisions will now. The journey begins. Chapter 1. The moment you notice there comes a point in life where something shifts quietly inside you. Nothing dramatic happens outside, yet everything begins to feel different within. You start to look at your routine, your surroundings, your habits, and your choices with a new kind of awareness. This is the moment you notice. Not everyone reaches this moment. Many people continue living on autopilot, repeating the same patterns without ever questioning them. They wake up, follow routines, react to situations, and go back to sleep without reflecting on what they are doing or why they are doing it. But you paused. Even if just for a second, you stepped back from the flow and asked yourself, what is really going on in my life? That question is powerful because it breaks the automatic cycle. At first, this awareness can feel uncomfortable. You may start to see things you ignored before. You may notice wasted time, unhealthy habits, or decisions that do not align with who you want to become. This can create a sense of frustration. A young worker once spent years in the same job, doing the same tasks every day. He never questioned it because it felt normal. One evening he sat alone and asked himself, if I continue like this for 5 more years, where will That simple question made him uncomfortable because he realized nothing would change. Instead of ignoring that feeling, he accepted it. He began to notice how much time he spent on things that did not help him grow. He noticed how often he avoided learning new skills. He noticed how his environment influenced his thinking. That awareness did not change his life instantly, but it gave him clarity, and clarity is the first step toward change. The moment you notice is not about judging yourself harshly. It is about seeing things as they are without excuses. You might notice that you procrastinate. You might notice that you doubt yourself too much. You might notice that you rely on motivation instead of discipline. These realizations are not weaknesses, they are starting points. Another example is a student who always believed he was average. He never tried to improve because he assumed his ability was fixed. One day, he compared his daily routine with a top student. He noticed the difference in effort, focus, and consistency. That moment changed his perspective. He understood that the gap was not talent, but habits. From that day, he started adjusting his routine, step by step. Over time, his performance improved. The moment you notice creates a gap between who you are and who you could be. At first, that gap may feel large and overwhelming, but it also shows you a direction. Without awareness, there is no direction. Without direction, there is no progress. Many people avoid this moment because it forces them to take responsibility. It is easier to blame circumstances, luck, or other people. But once you notice clearly, you can no longer pretend that you have no control. This is where the idea of being chosen begins to transform. You are not chosen because life gave you special advantages. You are chosen because you are willing to see the truth and act on it. Awareness alone is not enough. It must lead to action. A man noticed that his health was declining. He felt tired and weak, but he ignored it for a long time. One day he looked at himself honestly and accepted that his lifestyle was the cause. That moment was uncomfortable, but it was necessary. He did not try to change everything at once. He started with small steps, walking daily, improving his diet, and reducing unhealthy habits. Each small action was guided by the awareness he had gained. Months later, his energy improved. His confidence increased. His life began to shift. All of this started from a single moment of noticing. You must understand, noticing is not a one-time event. It is a skill you develop. The more you observe your thoughts, actions, and results, the more control you gain over your life. When you notice your distractions, you can reduce them. When you notice your strengths, you can build on them. When you notice your mistakes, you can correct them. This process requires honesty, not the kind that criticizes, but the kind that reveals. Ask yourself simple questions regularly. What am I doing daily? Is it helping me grow? What habits are holding me back? What small change can I make today? These questions keep your awareness active. The moment you notice is the beginning of your transformation. It is the point where you stop drifting and start directing your life. Nothing changes instantly, but everything becomes possible. And as you move forward, you will realize that this moment was not random. It was the start of a new way of living, a life where you are not controlled by habits you do not understand, but guided by choices you make with awareness. This is where your journey truly begins. CHAPTER. 2. The idea of being CHOACN. After the moment you notice something new begins to grow inside your mind. A thought that maybe your life is meant for more. A feeling that you are not here just to repeat the same routine forever. This feeling is powerful, but it can also be misunderstood. Many people take this feeling and turn it into a fantasy. They believe being chosen means life will become easier. They expect opportunities to appear without effort. They wait for a sign that confirms they are special. But reality does not work this way. Being chosen is not about receiving advantages without action. It is about recognizing responsibility. It is about understanding that if you see more, then you are expected to do more. A young man once believed he was meant for success. He told everyone that one day he would achieve great things, but he never changed his habits. He spent his time waiting for the right moment. Years passed and nothing happened. Another man had the same belief, but a different approach. He thought, if I feel this, then I must act on it. He started learning new skills. He worked on himself every day. He faced challenges and kept going. After some time, his life began to improve. Not because he was chosen by the universe, but because he chose to take action. The idea of being chosen becomes dangerous when it creates comfort without effort. It makes people feel important without doing the work required to grow, but it becomes powerful when it creates discipline and focus. When it pushes you to become better than you were yesterday. Student once felt that he had the potential to achieve something meaningful. Instead of just thinking about it, he created a plan. He divided his time between study, practice, and rest. He reduced distractions and stayed consistent. His friends laughed at him at first. They said he was working too hard, but he stayed focused. After a few years, his results were different from everyone around him. He did not become successful overnight. He built it step by step. This is what being chosen looks like in reality. It is not about standing above others. It is about rising above your previous self. It is not about expecting the world to change for you. It is about preparing yourself to face the world as it is. When you feel that you are meant for more, do not ignore it, but do not turn it into an excuse either. Use it as fuel. Ask yourself, what does this feeling require from me? What habits do I need to build? What skills do I need to learn? What actions must I take daily? A girl once believed she could change her life despite coming from a difficult background. She did not have many resources, but she had determination. Instead of focusing on what she lacked, she focused on what she could control. She studied with whatever materials she had. She asked questions. She improved her understanding little by little. Her progress was slow at first, but she did not stop. Over time, her effort created opportunities. She moved forward not because she was given a chance, but because she created one. Being chosen does not remove struggle. In fact, it often increases it, because you are no longer satisfied with staying the same. You will face doubt from others. You will face resistance from your own mind. You will feel tired at times, but these are not signs that you are on the wrong path. They are signs that you are moving beyond your comfort zone. A man who decided to improve his life faced criticism from people around him. They questioned why he was changing. They tried to pull him back into old habits. At first he felt uncertain, but he reminded himself why he started. He continued working on his goals. Slowly his results spoke louder than any word. The same people who doubted him began to respect him. This is another truth about being chosen. It often feels lonely in the beginning, because not everyone will understand your vision. Not everyone will support your growth, but that is part of the process. You are not here to follow the crowd blindly. You are here to think, act, and build your own path. This does not mean ignoring others completely. It means being selective about what influences you. Choose environments that support growth. Choose habits that move you forward. Choose thoughts that strengthen your mindset. Being chosen is not a label you carry. It is a standard you live by every day. You either act in alignment with it or you move away from it. If you waste time, ignore your goals, and avoid effort, then the idea loses its meaning. But if you stay consistent, disciplined, and focused, then it becomes real. Understand this clearly. There is no moment where the universe announces that you are special. There are only moments where you decide to act differently, and those decisions repeated over time create a life that stands out. So, if you feel chosen, do not wait for confirmation. Let your actions become the proof. Because, in the end, it is not about being selected. It is about becoming someone who refuses to stay ordinary. And that choice is always in your hands. CHAPTR 3. Reality does not change for YOU after understanding the idea of being chosen. The next truth you must face is simple, but often ignored reality does not adjust itself to your desires. It does not change because you wish for something better. It responds only when your actions align with what you want to achieve. Many people spend time imagining a better life. They think about success, comfort, and recognition. They create clear pictures in their mind, but they stop there. They believe thinking is enough, but reality is not influenced by imagination alone. It is shaped by behavior repeated over. Tima man once dreamed of becoming financially stable. He talked about it often and planned many things in his mind, but his daily routine stayed the same. He spent without control. He avoided learning new skills. He delayed important decisions. Years passed and nothing changed. His dreams remained in his thoughts, but never entered his reality. Another man had the same goal, but a different approach. He looked at his situation honestly. He saw where he was wasting money. He noticed that his income depended on limited skills. Instead of waiting, he started making changes. He reduced unnecessary expenses. He began learning a skill after work every day. At first it felt slow and difficult, but he stayed consistent. Months later, he found better opportunities. Years later, his situation improved completely. Reality did not favor him because he wished for more. It responded because he acted differently. This is a principle you must accept. No matter how strong your desire is, it will not produce results without action. A student once wanted to achieve high grades. He told himself that he was capable, but when it came to studying, he chose comfort. He spent time on distractions and avoided difficult subjects. His results stayed average, not because he lacked potential, but because his actions did not support his goal. Another student with similar ability followed a disciplined routine. He studied daily, reviewed his mistakes, and asked for help when needed. His progress was steady. When the exams came, his results reflected his effort. Reality is always consistent in this way. It mirrors what you do, not what you say. This can feel harsh at first because it removes excuses. You can no longer blame luck or timing for everything. You must look at your actions and their outcomes. But this truth is also empowering, because if your actions create your current situation, then new actions can create a new one. A person who feels stuck often believes that external factors are holding them back. They think if conditions were better, they would succeed. Sometimes circumstances are difficult and cannot be ignored. But even in those situations, there is always a level of control. A worker in a challenging environment decided to improve his future. He could not change his job immediately, but he used his free time to learn and prepare for better opportunities. Step by step, he built the skills he needed. When the right moment came, he was ready. If he had waited for perfect conditions, he would still be in the same place. Reality does not wait for you to feel ready. It moves forward continuously. You either move with it or stay behind. Another example is a person who wants to improve their health. They read about fitness watch videos and understand what needs to be done, but they delay starting. They tell themselves they will begin tomorrow or next week. Time passes and nothing changes. Then one day they decide to act. They start with small steps. They walk regularly, improve their diet, and stay consistent. At first, the results are not visible. This is where many people give up, but those who continue begin to see change. Their energy increases, their strength improves, and their confidence grows. Reality rewards consistency, even when progress feels slow. It is important to understand that action does not always bring immediate results. There is often a delay between effort and outcome. This delay tests your patience. It forces you to trust the process. A man planting a tree does not expect it to grow overnight. He waters it, protects it, and gives it time. In the same way, your efforts need time to develop into results. If you stop too early, you will never see what could have been achieved. This is why discipline is more important than motivation. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline keeps you moving. When you act based on discipline, you continue even when you do not feel like it. A writer who depends on motivation may write occasionally. But a writer who follows a routine will produce work consistently. Over time, that consistency leads to success. Reality values what is repeated, not what is intended. You must also understand that inaction has consequences. Doing nothing is still a decision. If you avoid improving your skills, your opportunities remain limited. If you ignore your health, it declines. If you delay your goals, they stay out of reach. Every day your actions or lack of actions shape your future. This is why awareness from the first chapter must lead to movement. Not perfect movement, but consistent movement. You do not need to change everything at once. Start with one area of your life. Identify a habit that is holding you back. Replace it with a better one. Repeat it daily. Small changes build momentum. Momentum creates progress. Progress builds confidence. A man once decided to improve his daily routine. He started waking up earlier and using that time productively. At first, it felt uncomfortable, but after a few weeks, it became natural. That one change influenced other areas of his life. He became more organized, more focused, and more disciplined. His results improved not because of a single action, but because of the chain reaction it created. This is how reality works. It responds to patterns. When your actions form a positive pattern, your life moves forward. When they form a negative pattern, your life stays stuck or declines. If this book found you, then understand this clearly. Nothing will change unless your behavior changes. You cannot think your way into a better life without acting. You cannot wait for the perfect moment to begin. The moment you decide to act is the moment your direction begins to shift. You may not see results immediately. You may face challenges along the way, but every step you take moves you closer to where you want to be. Reality may not change for you, but it will always respond to what you do, and that is where your true power lies. Chapter 4. Your mind is your real battle after understanding. That reality responds only to action. You must face the place where all action begins, your mind. Before anything changes outside, it must first change inside. Your thoughts shape your decisions, and your decisions shape your results. If your thinking is weak, your actions will be inconsistent. If your thinking is clear, your actions will become focused. Many people believe their biggest problems are external. They blame lack of resources, difficult situations, or other people. But often the real struggle is happening within their own mind. Doubt, fear, overthinking, and negative patterns silently control behavior. They slow you down before you even begin. A young man once had the opportunity to apply for a better job. He had the basic skills required, but he kept telling himself that he was not ready. He thought others were more capable. He delayed applying again and again. Eventually, the opportunity passed. Nothing external stopped him. His own thinking held him back. Another person in a similar situation felt the same fear, but instead of listening to it completely, he questioned it. He asked himself, what is the worst that can happen? He decided to apply anyway. He was not perfect, but he was willing. That willingness opened a new path. The difference between them was not ability. It was how they handled their thoughts. Your mind can either become your strongest support or your biggest limitation. It depends on how you train it. Many negative thoughts feel natural because they have been repeated for a long time. If you constantly tell yourself that you are not capable, your mind begins to accept it as truth. And once it feels true, your actions start to match it. A student who believes he is weak in a subject will avoid practicing it. Avoidance leads to poor performance. Poor performance strengthens the belief. This creates a cycle that is difficult to break, but cycles can be changed. Another student with the same difficulty chose a different approach. He accepted that he was struggling, but did not define himself by it. He focused on improvement instead of labels, practiced regularly, asked for help, and reviewed his mistakes. Over time, his understanding improved. Success was not immediate, but it was steady. This is how you begin to take control of your mind. You do not ignore negative thoughts completely. You learn to question them. When a thought says you cannot do something, ask why, look for evidence. Decide whether that thought is useful or limiting. Replace it with something practical instead of saying, I am not good enough. Say, I need more practice instead of saying this is too difficult. Say this will take time and effort. These small shifts may seem simple, but they change your direction. Your mind also creates fear of failure. It tries to protect you from discomfort, but in doing so, it often prevents growth. A man wanted to start a small business. He had an idea and basic resources, but his mind kept showing him possible failures. He imagined losing money, being judged by others, and facing uncertainty. Because of these thoughts, he never started. Years later, he saw someone else succeed with a similar idea. He realized that his fear had cost him an opportunity. Fear is not always a signal to stop. Sometimes it is a signal that you are stepping into something new. You must learn to move forward, even when fear is present. This does not mean acting without thinking. It means preparing yourself and then taking action despite uncertainty. Another challenge of the mind is distraction. In the modern world, it is easy to lose focus. There are constant interruptions that pull your attention away from what matters. A person may plan to work on a goal, but small distractions slowly take over their time. At the end of the day, they feel busy but not productive. This creates frustration and reduces confidence. To control your mind, you must also control your attention. Decide what is important. Create time for it. Reduce unnecessary distractions. A worker who struggled with focus decided to make a simple change. He set specific hours for deep work and avoided interruptions during that time. At first, it felt difficult. Gradually, his concentration improved. His work became more effective, and his progress became visible. This is the power of directed attention. Your mind also responds to what you feed it. If you constantly expose yourself to negativity, your thinking becomes negative. If you surround yourself with growth-oriented ideas, your thinking improves. This does not mean ignoring reality. It means choosing what influences you. A person who spends time learning, improving, and reflecting develops a stronger mindset. A person who spends time complaining and comparing weakens it. You must be careful about what you allow into your mind. Another important aspect is self-discipline. Your mind will often resist effort. It will look for comfort and easy options. You may feel like delaying work or avoiding challenges. If you always follow these impulses, you will stay in the same place. Discipline means doing what needs to be done, even when you do not feel like it. A writer who waits for the perfect mood will produce little, but a writer who follows a routine will create consistently. At first, discipline feels uncomfortable, but over time, it becomes natural, and once it becomes natural, your progress becomes stable. You must also understand that your mind needs rest. Constant pressure without recovery leads to exhaustion. Balance effort with proper rest. Use breaks to recharge, not to escape completely. A person who works without rest may burn out. A person who rests without purpose may become lazy. The goal is balance. Your mind is not something you control once and then forget. It requires continuous attention. Every day you will face thoughts that push you forward and thoughts that pull you back. Your role is to choose which ones to follow. If this book found you, then take this seriously. Your external results will always reflect your internal state. If your mind is filled with doubt, fear, and distraction, your life will show it. If your mind is trained for focus, discipline, and growth, your life will reflect that as well. You are not defined by your thoughts, but you are shaped by the ones you repeat and act upon. So, train your mind carefully, because it is the place where your entire journey is decided. And once you gain control over it, you gain control over your direction. CHEER. 5 small actions create big results. After understanding your mind, you must now understand how progress actually happens in real life. Not through sudden changes, not through one powerful moment, but through small repeated actions most people ignore. small actions because they seem insignificant. They believe real success comes from big moves, dramatic effort, and instant results. Because of this belief, they either wait for the perfect moment or they try to change everything at once. Both approaches usually fail. Real change is built slowly. It is created through consistency, not intensity. A man once decided to improve his life completely in a single day. He made a strict routine, woke up early, tried to work harder, exercised, and changed his habits. All at once. For a few days he followed it with high energy, but soon he felt overwhelmed. His motivation dropped, and he returned to his old routine. Another man chose a different path. He started with one small change. He decided to wake up slightly earlier than usual. At first it felt uncomfortable, but manageable. After a few weeks it became normal. Then he added another small habit. He used that extra time to learn something useful. Slowly, he built a routine, step by step, each habit supported. The next months later, his life looked very different. Not because of one big decision, but because of many small, consistent actions. This is how real progress works. Small actions may not show immediate results. This is why many people give up early. They expect visible change quickly. A person who starts exercising may not see results in a few days. A student who begins studying regularly may not see improvement immediately. A worker learning a new skill may feel slow progress at first. This period is where most people stop, but those who continue begin to see change over time. A student once struggled with understanding a subject. Instead of trying to master everything at once, he focused on one topic each day. He reviewed it, practiced it, and moved forward gradually. At first, his improvement was not noticeable, but after several weeks, his understanding became stronger. After a few months, he was performing better than before. His success came from steady effort, not sudden brilliance. Small actions also build confidence. Each time you complete a task, no matter how small, you prove to yourself that you can follow through. This creates a positive cycle. Action leads to progress. Progress builds confidence. Confidence leads to more action. A person who decides to read a few pages daily may feel it is not enough, but over time, those pages turn into books. Those books turn into knowledge. That knowledge changes thinking and decisions. In the same way, saving a small amount of money regularly builds financial stability. Practicing a skill daily builds expertise. Improving habits slowly builds a strong lifestyle. Power of small actions comes from repetition. One action may not change much, but repeated actions create patterns, and patterns shape your life. A worker who wanted to improve his career decided to learn one new concept every day. It did not take much time, but he stayed consistent. After a year, he had learned more than most people around him. This knowledge opened new opportunities. If he had waited for a big moment to learn everything at once, he would still be in the same place. Another important point is that small actions reduce resistance. When a task feels too large, your mind avoids it, but when it feels small, it becomes easier to start. A person who wants to exercise may feel overwhelmed by the idea of a long workout. But starting with a short, simple routine makes it easier to begin. Once they start, they are more likely to continue. Starting is often the hardest part. Small actions make starting easier. You must also understand that small negative actions work in the same way. Ignoring responsibilities, wasting time, and repeating unhealthy habits may seem harmless in the moment, but over time they create negative patterns. A person who delays tasks regularly builds a habit of procrastination. A person who spends without thinking builds financial problems. A person who avoids effort builds weakness. Just as small positive actions build success, small negative actions create problems. Is why awareness and discipline must work together. A man once realized that he spent a lot of time on activities that did not help him grow. Instead of trying to remove everything at once, he reduced them. Gradually, he replaced some of that time with productive habits. Over time, his routine improved. This change did not feel extreme, but its impact was significant. You must also be patient with small actions. They require time to show results. Many people stop because they do not see immediate rewards. They feel their effort is not working, but progress is often invisible. In the beginning, a seed does not grow into a tree in a day. It develops slowly beneath the surface before it becomes visible. Your efforts work in the same way. A person learning a skill may struggle at first. They may feel slow and uncertain, but each attempt improves their ability. After enough practice, what once felt difficult becomes natural. This transformation happens gradually. Consistency is more important than perfection. You do not need to perform every action perfectly. You need to perform it regularly. Missing one day is not failure. Stopping completely is. A writer who writes a little every day will eventually complete a book. A person who practices a skill regularly will improve. A student who studies consistently will achieve better results. These outcomes are not surprising. They are the natural result of repeated effort. If this book found you, then understand this clearly. You do not need to change your life overnight. You need to change what you do daily. Focus on small actions that move you forward. Repeat them with discipline. Allow time to do its work. Over time, these small actions will create results that once seemed difficult to achieve. When you look back, you will realize that your progress was not built in a single moment. It was built in every small step you chose to take consistently. CHAPTR 6. Failure is not the end. After learning the power of small actions, you will eventually face something that stops many people on their path. Failure is often misunderstood. People see it as a final result, a sign that they are not capable or not meant to succeed. Because of this belief, they fear it, avoid it, and sometimes never even begin. But failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the process. That leads to Ida. A young man once started a small business with excitement and hope. He invested his time and money, but within months, the business did not work. He felt disappointed and embarrassed. He believed he had made a mistake for some time. He stopped trying, but later he began to think differently. He looked at what went wrong. He realized he had not understood the market. He had made decisions without enough knowledge. Instead of seeing failure as the end, he saw it as information. He learned from it, improved his approach, and tried again. His second attempt was not perfect, but it was better. Over time, he built something that worked. If he had stopped after his first failure, his story would have ended there. Another person in a similar situation failed once and decided never to try again. He convinced himself that business was not for him. Years later, he remained in the same position, still wondering what could have happened. The difference between them was not talent or luck, was how they responded to failure. Failure reveals weaknesses, but it also shows direction. It tells you what needs to change. A student who fails an exam may feel discouraged. They may think they are not intelligent enough, but failure often comes from lack of preparation, ineffective methods, or poor time management. A student who accepts this can improve. They can adjust their study habits, practice more, and seek help. When they try again, their performance changes. But a student who takes failure personally and gives up remains stuck. You must learn to separate failure from your identity. Failing at something does not mean you are a failure. It means your current approach did not work. This distinction is important because it keeps you moving forward. Failure also builds resilience. When you face difficulty and continue, you become stronger mentally. Person who has never faced failure may struggle when challenges appear, but a person who has experienced setbacks and learned from them develops confidence. They understand that problems can be solved. A worker once applied for multiple jobs and faced rejection. Each time at first, he felt discouraged, but instead of stopping, he reviewed his applications. He improved his skills, adjusted his approach, and continued applying. Eventually, he received an offer. Each rejection had prepared him for the next step. If he had stopped early, he would never have reached that point. Failure also teaches patience. It reminds you that progress takes time a person learning anew. Skill will make mistakes. They may feel slow and frustrated, but each mistake is part of learning. With practice, those mistakes decrease over time. The skill becomes stronger. Many successful people have experienced repeated failure before achieving results. What separates them is persistence. They continue even when progress is not visible. They learn from each attempt and refine their approach. This is what you must understand. Failure is not a signal to stop. It is a signal to adjust, however not. All failure is useful if you do not reflect on it. Repeating the same mistake without learning leads to stagnation. You must analyze your failures. Ask yourself what went wrong, what can be improved, what will you do differently next time this process turns failure into growth. A man who wanted to improve his health tried a strict routine that was difficult to maintain. He failed to follow it consistently. Instead of giving up, he changed his approach. He created a simpler routine that he could sustain this time. He succeeded. His failure was not wasted. It guided him toward a better method. Another important aspect is emotional control. Failure can create strong emotions, such as frustration, disappointment, and self-doubt. These emotions are natural, but you must not let them control your decisions. Take time to understand them, but do not let them stop your progress. A person who reacts emotionally to failure may quit immediately. A person who stays calm can learn and continue, must also accept that failure is unavoidable. No matter how careful you are, you will face setbacks. Trying to avoid failure completely leads to inaction, and inaction leads to no progress. It is better to try and fail than to never try at all. A person who never takes risks may feel safe, but they also remain in the same place. Growth requires stepping into uncertainty. If this book found you, then understand this clearly. Failure is not the end of your journey. It is part of it. Every failure carries a lesson. Every setback contains information. Your role is to use it. Do not fear failure. Prepare for it. Learn from it. Move forward with better understanding, because success is not built on perfect attempts. It is built on repeated effort, improved by experience, and every time you rise after failure, you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you thought. That is where real strength is formed. That is why failure is never the end, unless you decide to stop. Chapter 7 Building a real life. Failure. You reach a stage where you must begin shaping your life with intention. Not through random effort, not through temporary motivation, but through structure. Many people want a better life, but they do not build one. They think about goals, but they do not create systems. They rely on bursts of energy that fade quickly. A real life is not built in moments of inspiration. It is built through daily structure, repeated over time. A man once decided that he wanted to improve everything in his life. He felt motivated and ready, but he had no plan. He worked hard for a few days, then lost direction. He did not know what to focus on. He became inconsistent and eventually stopped. Another man had the same desire, but a different approach. He did not try to change everything at once. He started by defining what he wanted clearly. He asked himself simple questions. What kind of life do I want? What skills do I need? What habits must I build? Once he had clarity, he created a basic structure. He divided his day into time for work, learning, rest, and improvement at it. First, his routine was not perfect, but it gave him direction. Over time, he adjusted it. He improved what worked and removed what did not. Months later, his life became more organized. His progress became visible. This is the difference between wishing and building. A real life requires systems. A system is something you follow regularly. It does not depend on how you feel in the moment. For example, a student who studies only when motivated will struggle, but a student who studies at a fixed time every day builds consistency. A worker who improves skills occasionally will see slow progress, but a worker who dedicates time daily will grow faster. Systems reduce decision-making. They create stability. Instead of asking, what should I do today? You already know another. Important part of building a real life is prioritization. You cannot do everything at once. You must decide what matters most. A person who tries to focus on too many goals often makes little progress. Their energy is divided, their attention is scattered. A person who selects a few important goals can focus deeply. Their progress becomes stronger. A young woman once wanted to improve her career, health, and personal life. At first, she tried to manage everything equally. She felt overwhelmed. Then she changed her approach. She focused on one main goal while maintaining basic habits in other areas. After making progress, she shifted her focus gradually. This allowed her to move forward without burnout. Building a real life also requires discipline. Motivation may help you start, but it will not sustain you. There will be days when you feel tired, distracted, or unmotivated. If you rely only on how you feel, you will become inconsistent. Discipline means following your system, even when you do not feel like it. A writer who waits for the perfect mood may write rarely, but a writer who follows a schedule produces work regularly. Over time, this consistency leads to results. Another key element is environment. Your surroundings influence your behavior more than you realize. If you are surrounded by distractions, it becomes harder to focus. If you are around people who do not value growth, it becomes harder to stay motivated. Man who struggled with productivity noticed that his environment was full of interruptions. He decided to make simple changes. He created a space where he could work without distraction. He reduced unnecessary noise. He organized his tools. These small changes improved his focus. Environment does not create success alone, but it supports it. You must also track your progress. Without tracking, it is easy to lose direction. You may feel like you are working, but not see results. Tracking helps you stay aware. It shows what is improving and what needs adjustment. A student who tracks study hours and performance can identify patterns. They can see where they are improving and where they need more effort. This makes their learning more effective. Another important part of building a real life is balance. You need effort, but you also need rest. Working constantly without recovery leads to exhaustion. Resting without purpose leads to stagnation. A balanced approach allows you to sustain progress. A worker who takes short breaks maintains energy. A person who schedules rest can avoid burnout. Balance is not about doing less. It is about managing your energy effectively. You must also accept that building a real life takes time. There is no instant transformation. Progress may feel slow, but slow progress is still progress. A man who improved his daily routine did not see immediate results. But after several months, his life became more stable. After a year, his situation changed significantly. If he had expected instant results, he might have given up. Patience is essential. Another example is a person learning a new skill. At first they struggle. They feel slow and uncertain, but with practice, they improve. After enough time, what once felt difficult becomes natural. This is how growth works. If this book found you, then understand this clearly. You do not need a perfect plan. You need a simple structure that you can follow consistently. Start with small systems. Define your goals. Create daily actions. Adjust as you learn. Do not wait for everything to be clear. Before you begin, clarity comes through action. A real life is not something you find. It is something you build, step by step, day by day, action by action. And as you continue building, you will realize that your life is no longer controlled by chance. It is shaped by your choices, your discipline, and your consistency. That is what makes it real, and that is how you move from potential to actual progress. CHAPTER 8. The truth about the UNIVRSC. After building structure in your life, you begin to question something deeper. What role does the universe actually play in all of this? Is there something guiding you, or is everything only based on your actions? Many people grow up hearing that the universe has a plan. that everything happens for a reason, that somehow success and failure are already decided. These ideas can feel comforting. They reduce uncertainty and give meaning to difficult moments, but they can also create passivity. You believe everything is already decided. You may stop taking responsibility. You may wait for things to happen instead of making them happen. The truth is more practical and grounded. The universe does not operate based on personal preference. It does not choose individuals and give them success without effort. It does not change your life just because you believe you are meant for more, but it does follow patterns. Effort leads to improvement. Consistency leads to results. Learning leads to better decisions. Discipline leads to stability. These patterns are not hidden. They are visible in every area of life. A farmer who plants seeds, waters them, and takes care of the land will see growth. A farmer who does nothing will see nothing. This is not luck or selection. It is cause and effect. A student who studies regularly improves understanding. A student who avoids effort struggles again. This is not because one is chosen and the other is not. It is because of their actions. The universe responds to what you do, not what you wish. This may feel simple, but it is often ignored. People search for complex explanations when the reality is clear. A man once believed that success would come to him because he had strong belief. He spent time visualizing his goals and thinking about a better future, but he did not take consistent action. He waited for opportunities to appear. Over time, nothing changed. His belief alone was not enough. Another man also believed in a better future, but he combined belief with effort. He worked on his skills. He created opportunities. He stayed consistent even when progress was slow. Eventually, his situation improved. Both had belief, but only one aligned it with action. This is how the universe works in practical terms. It does not ignore your effort, but it also does not reward inaction. Another important truth is that outcomes are not always immediate. You may work hard and not see results right away. This can create doubt. You may think your effort is not working, but often there is a delay between action and outcome. A person who exercises may not see physical change in the first weeks. A learner may not see immediate mastery. A business may not become successful quickly, but with continued effort, results begin to appear. This delay is part of the process. It tests patience and consistency. Those who stop early never reach the outcome. Those who continue move forward. Universe does not rush results for anyone. It responds when the conditions are built. You must also understand that not everything is under your control. External factors exist. Unexpected challenges appear. Situations may not always go as planned. Person may work hard and still face difficulties. This does not mean effort is useless. It means that effort must be combined with adaptability. When something does not work, you adjust. You learn and try again. A business may fail due to market conditions. A plan may not succeed due to unexpected changes. In such cases, you do not give up completely. You refine your approach. This is how progress continues. Idea that everything happens for a reason can be misleading if misunderstood. Is not that events are designed specifically for you. It is that every event can be used by you. A failure can become a lesson. A challenge can become strength. A setback can become redirection. The meaning is not given. It is created by how you respond. A man lost an opportunity he had worked for. At first he felt disappointed, but instead of staying stuck, he used the time to improve himself further. Later, he found a better opportunity that matched his skills. The initial loss was not planned for his benefit, but he turned it into something useful. This is how you work with reality. Another important concept is alignment. When your actions match your goals, your progress becomes clear. When your actions do not match your goals, you feel stuck. A person who wants to improve but continues unhealthy habits creates conflict. Their actions and goals do not align. A person who adjusts behavior to match their goals moves forward. Alignment is what connects effort to results. The universe does not create this alignment for you. You create it through your choices. If this book found you, then understand this clearly. You are not chosen in a way that removes responsibility. You are not guided in a way that replaces effort. You are placed in a world that responds to what you do. Your thoughts influence your actions. Your actions create patterns. Your patterns shape your life. This is the system. You are part of it. Is not unfair, and it is not biased. It is consistent. Because it is consistent, it gives you an opportunity if you change your actions. You change your direction. You do not need to wait for a sign. You do not need to depend on luck. You need to act, learn, adjust, and continue over time. Your results will reflect your effort. This is the truth about the universe in practical terms. It does not choose for you, but it allows you to choose and then responds accordingly. And once you understand this, you stop waiting and start building. That is where real progress begins. Chapter 9. The power of habits. After learning how the universe responds to your actions, you must now focus on the foundation that shapes those actions. Your habits. Habits are the invisible architecture of your life. They determine how you spend your time, what you focus on, and ultimately what you achieve. Small repeated behaviors compound over time and create outcomes far larger than any single effort. Most people underestimate habits because they seem insignificant. Brushing your teeth, exercising for 10 minutes, reading a few pages, or saving a small amount of money feels minor. But these small repeated actions shape the trajectory of your life. A young man wanted to improve his physical health. He began with one simple habit: walking 15 minutes every day. At first it seemed trivial. He wondered if it would make any difference. Months later, he noticed increased energy, improved stamina, and better focus. That single habit had created momentum. It led him to exercise more consistently, improve his diet, and take care of his health in other ways. Another person wanted to grow professionally. He started reading 10 pages of a relevant book daily. At first, it felt small and slow. Over a year, he had read dozens of books. His knowledge and skill improved. Opportunities appeared that would not have existed without that small, consistent habit. This is the compounding power of habits. Habits work in two directions. Positive habits build growth. Negative habits build stagnation. A student who procrastinates daily may feel harmless effects at first, but over months and years, poor study habits accumulate. They result in poor performance and lost opportunities. A worker who spends hours on distractions loses productivity gradually. It may not feel immediate, but the results are visible over time. The key to harnessing habits is awareness and design. Awareness means noticing your current behaviors. Ask yourself which actions are moving you toward your goals and which are holding you back. Design means intentionally creating routines that align with your objectives. Instead of relying on motivation, rely on systems that make good habits automatic. For example, a person who wants to improve fitness may schedule workouts at the same time every day. They may prepare clothes and food in advance. The environment supports the habit. Resistance is reduced. Another person who wants to write consistently may set a specific time each morning. They may remove distractions and create a ritual. The habit becomes natural over time. Consistency is the main driver. Missing one day does not break the habit. Stopping completely does. Habits also shape your mindset indirectly. Small wins build confidence. Confidence leads to more effort. More effort strengthens habits. A student who consistently completes study sessions begins to trust their ability. The trust encourages tackling harder topics. Progress becomes visible. Negative habits work the same way in reverse. Skipping work creates doubt, reduces effort. Reduced effort reinforces the habit. This is why controlling habits is more important than relying solely on willpower. Willpower fluctuates. Habits are automatic. Another important principle is starting small. Big changes feel overwhelming. Small steps reduce resistance. They create momentum. A man who wanted to save money began by saving a few dollars weekly. It felt easy. Over time, he increased the amount saving, became a natural part of his life. A woman learning a new language began with 5 minutes daily. After months, it became a routine. She gradually increased practice until fluency became achievable. Habits also require patience. The impact is often invisible initially, but as time passes, compounding effects appear. A tree planted today does not provide shade immediately, but consistent care makes it grow tall and strong. You must also track habits. Noticing progress reinforces commitment. Adjusting habits when necessary prevents stagnation. A worker tracked daily productivity. He noticed patterns of distraction. He modified his environment and schedule. His efficiency improved steadily. Another aspect is replacing bad habits with good ones. Simply eliminating a habit may leave a gap that the mind fills. Replacing it with a constructive habit creates continuity. For example, a person who wants to reduce screen time may replace social media use with reading or learning. This maintains engagement while shifting behavior. Remember that habits shape the majority of your daily decisions. Most actions are automatic. Designing habits aligns these automatic actions with your goals. If this book found you, then understand this clearly. Your potential is unlocked not only by big decisions, but by consistent habits. Small repeated actions compound over time. They determine your health, your skill, your productivity, and your mindset. Mastering habits is mastering the invisible structure of your life. And once your habits are aligned with your goals, your daily actions move you toward success without requiring constant effort. This is where real transformation begins. Not in grand gestures, not in sudden inspiration, but in consistent intentional habits that define your reality, and the power to build them lies entirely in your hands. CHAPTER 10. Embracing consistency. After understanding the power of habits, the next essential principle is consistency. Consistency is the bridge between intention and results. It is the force that transforms effort into progress and dreams into reality. Many people start with enthusiasm. They are motivated, they make plans and set goals. But soon the initial energy fades. Challenges appear, results feel slow, and they stop. Consistency is what separates those who succeed from those who do not. It is not about perfection. It is about persistence. Doing the right things regularly, even when it feels difficult or boring. A young athlete wanted to improve his performance. He trained hard for a few weeks, but then missed practice because he felt tired. His skills stagnated. Another athlete with the same potential trained daily, without exception. Even small practice sessions added up. Over months, he became stronger, faster, and more skilled than his peers. Consistency compounds like habits. Each repeated action builds momentum. Momentum builds results. Consider a student who studies 10 minutes daily. At first it seems small, but after a year, the daily effort accumulates into hundreds of hours of focused study. The knowledge gained far exceeds that of someone who studies intensely for a short period and then stops. Another example is someone learning a musical instrument. A single hour practiced inconsistently produces little, but consistent daily practice gradually develops skill and confidence. Over time, the improvement becomes visible and lasting. Consistency also strengthens mindset. When you commit to showing up regularly, you prove to yourself that you can follow through. This builds self-trust. Self-trust leads to confidence. Confidence reinforces consistent action. Without consistency, effort becomes scattered and progress stalls. Many people have great ideas and intentions, but without regular action, these ideas remain unfulfilled dreams. A writer may have brilliant concepts, but without daily writing, the book never materializes. A business owner may have innovative strategies, but without consistent execution, the company does not grow. Consistency requires patience. Results may not be immediate. You will face delays, setbacks, and challenges. Progress often feels invisible at first. A gardener plants seeds and waters them daily. For weeks, there is no visible growth. But with steady care, sprouts eventually appear. Over time, a healthy garden emerges. The same principle applies to your life. Your consistent actions build the foundation. Time reveals the results. Consistency also reduces reliance on motivation. Motivation fluctuates. It is unreliable. Consistency creates discipline. Discipline carries you forward, even when motivation fades. A person exercising only when motivated may stop after a week. A person following a consistent schedule will continue despite temporary feelings. Their results become inevitable. Another key aspect is setting realistic expectations. Consistency does not require extreme effort every day. It requires manageable actions repeated reliably. Small, consistent actions are more powerful than occasional bursts of intensity. For example, someone who wants to improve health may walk 10 minutes daily. Over time, this builds endurance. It leads to longer walks, more exercise, and better lifestyle choices. Consistency is also linked to resilience. Life will throw challenges, obstacles will appear. Your ability to maintain regular effort, despite difficulties, is what produces real results. A student facing a difficult subject continues to study every day. A worker facing setbacks keeps improving skills daily. A writer continues writing despite criticism or self-doubt. All of these examples demonstrate that consistency is not dependent on circumstances. It is a choice, a commitment, a standard you uphold for yourself. You must also understand that consistency is cumulative. Missing a day is not the end. Stopping completely is every effort adds to previous efforts. Every day compounds on the last. Over months and years, small, consistent actions create transformation. Your skills improve. Your health strengthens. Your understanding deepens. Your opportunities expand. If this book found you, then understand this clearly. Consistency is the secret that makes all other principles work. Without it, awareness remains unused. Without it, habits are weak. Without it, actions fade. Without it, goals remain distant dreams. Embrace consistency in everything that matters. In learning, in growth, in health, in relationships. Make showing up daily non-negotiable. Let it become your standard, even when progress feels slow, even when results are not visible, even when life is difficult. Because consistent action produces momentum. Momentum produces results. Results reinforce action, and slowly but surely your life aligns with your intentions. This is the reality of building a meaningful life, not through luck, not through sudden inspiration, but through the simple, unwavering commitment to keep moving forward every single day. And once consistency becomes your practice, your life begins to change in ways that cannot be reversed. CHAPTER 11. The importance of self-belief. After learning about consistency, you reach a principle that underpins everything else: self-belief. Without it, consistent effort becomes directionless. Without it, habits lose power. Without it, even the smallest action can feel impossible. Many people underestimate self-belief because it is invisible. They focus on external proof or validation. They wait for others to acknowledge their potential before taking action. But reality shows that success begins internally. You must first believe in your ability to improve, to take the steps that create results. A young woman wanted to start her own business. She doubted her skills. She worried about failure and criticism. At first, she hesitated for months. Her ideas remained unimplemented. She decided to trust herself. She focused on what she could control. She learned what she needed to learn. She acted even when unsure. Step by step, her business grew. Another person may have greater external support or resources, but without self-belief, they stagnate. They wait for certainty or permission. Opportunities pass by because their mindset does not allow action. Self-belief is not arrogance. It is not thinking you are better than others. It is confidence in your capacity to learn, confidence in your ability to adapt, confidence in your ability to persist. A student who struggles with a subject may fail initially, but self-belief allows him to try again. It encourages problem-solving and resilience. It transforms mistakes into learning. Belief also impacts your energy and focus. When you trust yourself, you act decisively. When you doubt yourself, you hesitate. Hesitation reduces results and creates frustration. A man wanted to improve his health. He doubted whether he could follow a routine. Instead of starting, he delayed. When he finally embraced belief in his ability, he took small steps consistently. Those steps compounded into noticeable improvement. Self-belief also attracts opportunities. People are drawn to those who act with confidence. They are more likely to support and collaborate with individuals who trust themselves. However, belief must be paired with action. Confidence without effort becomes empty pride. True self-belief is proven through doing, not just thinking. Another key aspect is overcoming internal criticism. Your mind will often doubt your abilities. It will remind you of past failures or compare you to others. Self-belief requires recognizing these thoughts, but not letting them control you. A writer may face thoughts that their work is inadequate. Instead of stopping, they acknowledge the feeling and continue writing. Action reinforces belief. Belief reinforces action. Self-belief also grows through small wins. Every completed task, every improvement, every step forward proves to you that you are capable. These wins build a positive cycle of confidence and effort. A student who consistently completes study sessions begins to trust their ability. A worker who improves skills gradually becomes confident in tackling bigger challenges. A person who consistently faces fear and acts grows resilient and self-assured. It is important to remember that belief is a practice. It can fluctuate, it can be challenged, but you can strengthen it through reflection, action, and repeated proof of your capability. Another aspect is visualizing potential without depending on it. Imagining your success strengthens self-belief, but imagining alone is not enough. You must act consistently to turn potential into reality. A young entrepreneur visualized their business thriving. They also created a plan. They worked daily. The combination of belief, clarity, and action transformed the vision into reality. If this book found you, then understand this clearly. Self-belief is the engine that drives all other principles. It fuels your consistency. It strengthens your habits. It allows you to face failure. It motivates you to act even when circumstances are challenging. Without self-belief, small actions feel meaningless. With self-belief, even the hardest challenges become manageable. Even slow progress feels purposeful. Trust yourself. Believe in your ability to learn, adapt, and persist. Act in alignment with that belief, and you will find that obstacles shrink, opportunities appear, and your life begins to move in the direction you desire. Self-belief is not granted by the universe. It is earned by proving to yourself, day by day, that you are capable of taking the next step and the step after that. And once it becomes your foundation, nothing can easily shake your forward momentum. Chapter 12. Taking responsibility for your life. After understanding self-belief, the next step is embracing full responsibility for your life. This is the moment where awareness, action, and belief converge. Many people wait for external forces to change their situation. They blame luck, other people, or circumstances. But true growth begins when you accept that your life is the result of your choices. Responsibility does not mean blaming yourself for everything that happens. It means recognizing that your actions, decisions, and habits shape your reality. It means understanding that no one else can create your progress for you. A young man wanted to improve his career. He complained about his boss, the company policies, and the economy. He felt stuck and powerless. But after reflecting, he realized that he controlled his own actions. He could improve his skills, network with others, and seek new opportunities. When he took responsibility, he began taking daily steps. He learned new skills online, improved his resume, and applied for better positions. Eventually, he found a role that matched his potential. His progress came not because conditions changed, But because he changed his actions, another person may face the same challenges but refuse to take responsibility. They continue to complain and wait for circumstances to improve. Their potential remains untapped. And frustration grows. Responsibility is empowering because it gives you control, even if conditions are difficult. Taking responsibility allows you to act. You may not control everything, but you control your response. A student struggling with grades could blame the teacher, the curriculum, or distractions at home, but accepting responsibility allows them to take control of what they can. They can create a study schedule, seek help, and focus on understanding instead of complaining. Responsibility also requires honesty. You must acknowledge where your actions or inactions have contributed to your situation. Ignoring reality, making excuses, or blaming others prevents growth. A man struggling with health continued poor eating habits and avoided exercise. Blaming genetics or a busy schedule did not improve his situation. Only when he accepted that his daily choices mattered did he begin changing gradually. His health improved. Taking responsibility is not always easy. It requires courage to face mistakes, admit failures, and make difficult decisions. It may feel uncomfortable to acknowledge that your past choices shaped your present, but this discomfort is temporary. The freedom and control gained last forever. Responsibility also encouraged proactive behavior. Instead of waiting for opportunities, you create them. Instead of hoping for external help, you build skills and take action. Instead of wishing for change, you implement systems and habits that produce it. A small business owner who faced declining sales could complain about the economy, or they could analyze their marketing, improve customer service, and adapt their strategy. Those who take responsibility act, learn, and grow. Those who don't remain stagnant. Another key aspect is accepting the consequences of your actions. Every choice has an outcome, positive or negative. Owning your actions allows you to learn and adjust. A person who invests time and effort in learning a new skill may fail initially, but accepting that the results are connected to their effort allows them to continue. They adjust, improve, and eventually succeed. Taking responsibility also eliminates victim mentality. When you stop blaming external factors, you reclaim energy. You stop waiting and start doing. You stop feeling powerless and begin creating. If this book found you then understand this clearly, your life is yours. Your choices, habits, actions, and responses shape every part of it. The universe does not hand you success. It responds to what you do. Your mindset, your consistency, your habits, and your belief determine what you achieve. Taking responsibility does not mean doing everything perfectly. It means being aware, acting, learning, and adjusting. It means acknowledging the truth and refusing to remain passive. Every action you take matters. Every decision compounds. Every habit shapes your future. Embrace responsibility fully. Stop waiting for permission, luck, or ideal conditions. Start taking consistent action aligned with your goals and values. Learn from setbacks, adjust when needed, and continue forward. When you take responsibility, you transform from a passive observer of life into the active architect of your reality. And that is where true empowerment begins. Your life becomes yours in every sense, and nothing can limit you except the choices you make. Conclusion. If this book found you, then you are already on a path that many never begin. From the first page to now, you have explored principles that are simple yet profound. You have learned that your mind shapes your reality, that small actions repeated consistently create compounding results, that failure is not an end, but a teacher, that self-belief and habits are the engines of progress, and that taking responsibility is the key that unlocks your control over life. The universe did not choose you to hand you success. It placed you in a reality that responds to effort, learning, and persistence. You are not passive. You are not powerless. Every thought, every habit, every choice contributes to the life you live. Your journey is not about magic or luck. It is about awareness and action. It is about showing up when no one is watching. It is about doing the small things consistently. It is about trusting yourself, learning from failure, and adjusting along the way. Remember that growth takes time. Progress is often invisible at first. Patience is essential. What seems small today can create monumental results over months and years. Your consistent effort compounds. Habits shape your behavior. Belief fuels your action. And responsibility ensures your life moves forward. You are capable of more than you realize. Your past does not define you. Your fears do not limit you. Your circumstances do not control you. Every day offers a new opportunity to act, learn, and grow. The principles in this book are not theoretical. They are practical steps that anyone can apply. They are not dependent on resources, luck, or privilege. They depend only on your willingness to act consistently, to believe in yourself, and to take full responsibility for your life. If this book found you, it is not by chance. It is a moment of awareness, an invitation to step into your potential. The universe responds to your actions, and now it is up to you to act. Start small. Stay consistent. Learn from setbacks. Build habits. Trust yourself. And take responsibility. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Do not wait for external approval. Your life begins with the next step you take. This is the ultimate truth. The power to change your reality lies entirely in your hands. Your mind, your actions, your habits, your consistency, your belief, your responsibility. They are all tools that, when used deliberately, create a life of growth, meaning, and fulfillment. Take action today. Start building, start learning, start believing, and start taking responsibility, step by step, day by day. Your life will transform, and when you look back, you will see that the universe did not choose you arbitrarily. You chose yourself by deciding to act, to grow, and to live intentionally. This is your journey. This is your reality. This is your life, and it begins now. The end.